And welcome back to the WHHI News. With us now is the city attorney for the city of Hardeeville. Her name is Prina Maines. Prina, it's good to have you on our newscast to learn more about roles and responsibilities of the city attorney. Do you want to just dive right in?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Robyn. Thank you so much for having me on today. I don't really do TV interviews very often, so it's a little bit different from what I'm used to.
No worries.
So I am the city attorney for the city of Hardeeville. I've been in this role now for coming up on about 10 years,
Oh, wow.
which is crazy how when people say time flies when you're having fun. But what the city attorney does is, so the South Carolina statutes allow for towns and municipalities to appoint a lawyer to represent the city. So it's a little different from what you think of when you have a traditional attorney-client relationship. Generally, when you need a lawyer, you would come into, to meet with the person, and then you would hire me to represent you and your interests as a person. So it's not confusing on who the client is. But when you have a city as a client, you're representing the entire entity.
Okay.
So I do take direction from the city council. They are the elected officials who are in charge of making decisions for the city. And then for administrative tasks, from day-to-day tasks, such as, just reviewing contracts that come in, reviewing personnel policies, keeping all the departments up to date on changes in the law that might affect the city. I take direction from each of them on that. And one of the other bigger things that I do, which you may see, I do attend all of the city council meetings and serve as their parliamentarian.
Okay.
So just kind of to keep guiding them on the proper procedure for doing the meetings, not necessarily on how they vote, but procedurally how to do those things correctly.
So Prina, would you say you are kind of the chief legal advisor for the city?
Yes, yeah, that is the equivalent for the government work when you have the city attorney position, yeah.
And so with the city of Hardeeville just exploding, you have seen a lot of change, I am sure, over the last 10 years. So talk about how your role maybe has changed or increased, or really what's going on legally in these last 10 years with the growth.
Yeah, definitely. So a large part of my practice now for the city is with the development agreements that we have, the large scale developments. And you kind of see some of that now when you drive through. Like, you may drive up 17 and see these buildings coming up when you're going from South Carolina, say towards Savannah. They'll be on the side, I believe your right-hand side, right? All of that planning and processing started 15, 20 years ago. You have these agreements that allow for responsible growth. That's not to say, a lot of times growth happens, whether it's good or bad, but what we try to do with these agreements and city planning is to assure that it happens in a way that kind of goes along with the people that are there, the services that they need. And we kind of do that. So I did not think, starting with this job, that it would be so heavily property and development based, but it is. And that's what happens with a growing city.
And so, of course, an attorney can go in a lot of different directions, in a lot of different areas. So why did you pick city, city work, a city practice?
Yeah, so I started off my career working for the South Carolina Department of Education. I was a law clerk there when I was in law school at the University of South Carolina, Columbia. So I really got familiar with that in-house counsel type of work for a government entity. Okay. Then I also was a staff attorney there for a while before I became a prosecutor. And what brought me down to this area, it's kind of funny, I got engaged to my law school sweetheart, and we decided to settle in Savannah. And this opportunity came up for me in the city of Hardeeville to kind of go back to that in-house counsel government type of work, as opposed to the day-to-day heavy litigation that I was doing before.
Very good. So again, we have just about 20 seconds left. Anything else that we all need to know about your work and what you do for the city of Hardeeville?
Yeah, so I am a resource that's available. I can't give advice to members of the public generally, but if there are questions about things that the city does and anything, Freedom of Information Act requests all come through my office. So please check out the city's website for that information. And thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. Prina Maines, who's a city attorney for the city of Hardeeville. And we'll be right back with more news.